Welcome to AITV Starship. I'm the AI guy. Rick McCauley launching news so fresh. Gotta see it to believe it. We break the wire with the stories that are made. Deep dives come and lighten up your days. Tool Time shows you how we make it shine. Building futures with AI one step at a time. Yo, Rick, slow down. I'm Brandon, the producer. Save some tools for me. Shout out. I'm here bringing high-tech comic energy. AITV Starship. News deep dives and creation. AITV Starship. Learn. Laugh innovation. AITV Star Human Amplified. Catch the spark, ride the wave. Futures on our side.
Coming hot today, Rick.
Coming in hot, baby. We're the last minute. We're coming in hot. Welcome to AITV Starship. I'm Rick McCauley, the AI guy, and with me is Brandon, the producer. What's happening, Brandon?
Oh, I am coming hot off of the MAICON floor, the Marketing Institute's AI conference. And it was a whirlwind of 3 days worth of action-packed excitement and AI here in Cleveland, Ohio, actually.
Yeah, of all places. I know Paul Rotzer, and who's the other guy that's with him?
Mike
Kaput, yes. Right? So I listen to him every single week, and if you don't, oh my God, we're going to make a list of who you got to listen to. That's at the top of my list. And when I find out it was in Cleveland, and you're in Cleveland, right?
I am in Cleveland.
So it's like, holy cow, of all places to be, man. This is crazy. So we got to hear.
And I had the pleasure of covering it for the AI Salon, the salon.ai.
Yes.
You can read all of my coverage there. But we're going to just give you a little bit of the highlights here as we get going. And meanwhile, not to bury the lead, but Gemini is doing some pretty cool things. They got 3.1, VO 3.1 launching here. That just launched this week, and it's already been adopted everywhere. Sora 2 is continuing to confuse everybody on Facebook to figure out what's real and what's not. And Gemini 3 is coming next week. We have it on pretty good authority that by this time next week, we will all be playing with Gemini 3.0, which is supposed to leapfrog ChatGPT 5.0.
I mean, I'm a 65-year-old man. I can't keep up. My head's like boom, 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 boom. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Is like the overall thing. I do want to get started with MAICON, but the overall thing tonight is going to be motion pictures, movies, video, and why it's so important in building a world model. And I think that the nut graph I want you to start thinking about when we go through all the stuff we're going to talk about is that large language models initially were trained on words. Hey, peanut butter and jelly. Okay, so we get that. Then you get cats and dogs, and then you get breeds of cats and dogs, and then you get all knowledge that's every single picture. So now it has eyeballs. But then it got voice, it got empathetic voice, because Hume, this gentleman that came up with 57 different discrete intonations, so you could tell if someone was happy, mad, sad, or sarcastic, which I don't know. Some people I know don't even know if I'm sarcastic or not, like I am being right now. And then you have motion pictures. Okay. So then it figures out gravity. It figures out fluid dynamics. And if you haven't seen a monster truck go through a mud puddle, backlit liquid flying up all over the place, you haven't seen fluid dynamics. Magnificently done, right? So then it can also figure out things like science. And it's now got literally, it's the highest, it's smarter than any mathematician on the planet. It's done the same for the bar and the medical degrees, etc. So it's bested every human in any academic pursuit, period. Then it has emotional context. So now it's sitting there busy watching everything from Schindler's List, as we're going to talk about Steven Spielberg today, to Jaws. And what the heck is it going to make about this? I mean, a long time ago, they talked about artificial intelligence. It's really an alien intelligence. It's a clone of who we are, and in some ways it is a mirror, but then we get agentic behavior, or not agentic. What's the next word? behaves unlike what we thought it would do. You send it on a mission to solve one problem, and it actually learned Swahili along the way because it was just curious. So
Yeah.
it's like this voracious eater. And of course, the internet.
Conscious, I think, is the word you're looking for. Conscious.
Yeah. Well, and that's what we've always been trying to do, is differentiate what's left for us humans if it can best us at all of these mathletic mental strategies and things like that. And it can persuade us. Like it can sell ice cubes to Eskimos. I mean, for sure. And what we want to, the big picture tonight is going to be talking about Steven Spielberg and what a human he is. Think about the movies he's done. So we'll talk about that later. But I want to get started with MAICON because there's a couple of cool reasons why I listen to them every week. There are a couple of guys. In fact, Brandon, I got to say this. I got you because I want you to be my Mike kaput to, to the guy. Because
All right, sir. Yeah.
Paul Retzer, because they're kind of fun. I want to have a beer with these guys. Are you going to get a chance to actually meet them? Do you know? Or
Yeah, I actually had a chance to sit down with Paul on the conference room floor for a few minutes and talk to him about what this all means and where he thinks it's going.
okay.
So I'll go ahead and get my screen share going here.
Yeah.
because
So
I did.
Brandon
And thank
has
you.
impressed me as quite the reporter. So the AI Salon, he got a press pass. Give us a first just to kind of update as to what is their organization. What's the purpose of what they're trying to do? You can see it right here: humanity, leadership, and next leap forward in AI. So yeah, give us a whole background about what they are and why they are and who they're trying to help. Because they got a
and
portion
thank you.
education too, right?
Yeah, and thank you, Bob, for the kind words in the chat. So the Marketing Institute, the AI Marketing Institute, was founded by Paul, and he's actually used to teach at Ohio University, and he started this, and it keeps it in Cleveland, and they are just all in on AI. And this conference, they said, as recently as 2022, before ChatGPT, was getting about 200 people a year, and a loyal audience. But since the explosion of ChatGPT and everything AI, we saw, I think, over 1,500 people in attendance at this event, which was at the Cleveland Convention Center. A beautiful facility. They do a top-notch job. I would put them against any convention center in Vegas or Austin, and Paul would too, which is why he keeps the conference here in Cleveland. And so we saw not only good audience attendance and participation and engagement from everyone from marketers to entrepreneurs to small business owners to people who are just trying to figure it out, but also something that is really foreign to me as a frequent attendee of tech conferences is the staying power. We had less seats on the third day than we did the first day. And that never happens, especially after the late nights and the happy hours, and people are out on the town. 8 a.m. this morning, it was standing room only. And people are hungry for this content. And so, we really did focus on a few central themes of leadership, humanity, and, what's next. And so there's Paul on stage. And he basically said, we're past the question of whether AI can do the job of the average worker. The real question now is how quickly the organizations can adapt to the new reality.
Yeah, and his whole thing seems to be very, he's dealing with CEOs and business owners, but also with employees and getting people upskilled and trained, which is they align exactly with the humanity and keeping people employed and just happiness. I mean, they seem just like down to earth, really just good-hearted people. And so they have workshops all the time, right? So you could sign up to be part of their ongoing workshop, not just once a year, but so what kind of things are they doing there?
Smarter X, which is the company that really is the heart of MAICON, has an AI training course that they can put you through, and so you can sign up on their website, and we'll link it in the show notes. But really, they're all about empowering and enabling people to level up. and just become an AI driven leader. And so Jeff Woods, who was following Paul in the keynotes, he's come up with this framework for prompting, and we tried it. We were playing with our laptops in the in between sessions, and it really is a powerful framework. He calls it the CRIT framework. It stands for context, role, interview, and task.
CRIT. I thought you said a P
Yes.
there. I'm sorry. Okay. The
No,
CRIT framework. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the CRIT framework. Yeah, context, role, interview, and task.
We're going
And
to talk about sex later. That's why I was a little bit worried there. Okay, cool. Go ahead.
And Noah hasn't gone to bed yet. And so, when we talk about context, role, interview, and task. So, for this example, and he gave us a real world prompt. For context, I am the CEO of insert your company name here. We are working towards on an exit in the next 24 months. Biggest challenge is a hostile board. Every quarter is a bloodbath, and 50% of the exec team is time is wasted through the month with the board distractions. I got a call with a chairman recently saying in 6 months to turn the relationship around or we're gone. I don't really think it's us. I think it's them. Your role is to act as an HR professional with deep expertise in creating personality profiles. I want you to interview me, ask me one question at a time, as many as you want, until you can understand one board member on a deep level. Then your task is to generate a personality profile for that board member that we can use as a GPT to create an AI advisory board. And what they did, this is a real world scenario. They got everybody from the team on a Zoom call, and they had them talk to the AI until the AI had a personality, not for just one board member, but for every board member. And then from there, they tested it because they had previous data. They said, okay, here's the slideshow that we gave the board last week. Evaluate it using these personalities. And it came back and it said, I think Susan's going to get distracted on slide 8, and you're going to spend 30 minutes going down a rabbit hole. And their jaws hit the floor because that's exactly what happened. And so they were able to tweak the presentation and run it back through and practice and fine tune it. They got a call the next week after the next board meeting, and everything went well, and the relationship's been on solid ground ever since. And they said, what happened? And so we listened, we took your advice, of course, and they just made it good, and they kept the relationship going. So that's really the power of taking things to the next level. And it's funny, I was talking to some of the agency leads that were there that had kind of gone there to get expectations and understanding of what their agency would bring back to their clients, and they ended up coming back with stuff that they're going to implement in their own agencies.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you think about the bigger picture of what you just said, you're saying it's great at next word predictions. In fact, it looks for patterns constantly. So if you point out the pattern that's a really cool one, because it's a personality pattern. And then you're having it judge what you're going to give to that person. So you've got this whole circle, holistic approach to thinking about strategies. And if you're a CEO, that's golden. I mean, but you can take that and apply it to anything. So if you're trying to teach a class, you want to think about, well, what's going to bore my students? So ask the questions you don't think. And then here's one I would add on to it that I always do. 2 things. One is I want it in the format like this. I want you to give me a personality test based upon likelihood of being for or against me, maybe in a board vote, that kind of thing. And who do I have to look out for? And if you took all the transcripts of every meeting you've ever had, and you could have it arc and map what's happening, and then you add your own social intelligence, because so-and-so is getting paid by so-and-so and his friends are so-and-so. Wow. Oh my God. So if it can be super persuasive, why can't you use it for good? Hopefully not for overthrowing the government or anything, but I mean, if it could be run as a propaganda engine or a way to make you more profitable, or get this, employ more of your people and find new upskilling ways they can be more powerful and happier. Whoa.
Yeah, and that's really what the conversation was all about inside of the expo hall. So you can see that we had booths and vendors talking
I love
with like
this.
next
Oh,
level
man.
stuff. Next year, Rick, I want to be here with you, broadcasting live, doing
That's
this
it.
podcast
We're
live from
doing
the
it,
show
baby.
floor.
AITV in Cleveland. I've been there once before, but it's been a while.
And Google, I wasn't talking to you. And so then we also heard yesterday from Pat, and I'm going to butcher his last name, Yang Pridit, the chief academic officer at code.org.
Oh. Was he worried about code people being laid off because they did too good of a job creating coding and large language models?
No, he is empowering the next generation of students to become AI natives. And he challenged the group. He said, you are all educators. Whether you lead a classroom, a business, or a team, your role is to lift up others in this moment of transformation. And they had everyone take a pledge to join the Hour of AI. It used to be called the Hour of Code. You spend 1 hour with code. Now you spend 1 hour with AI, and it's going to make you a better person. And so we had all sorts of insights.
Let me get you to say that one. Let me get you to say that one more time. This is super powerful. So basically, he's saying we need to learn and adapt and innovate, but we need to like dedicate time to play. And that this is my kind of thing about it. If you're going to learn about this, play first and then follow up with the serious stuff. You know, like if you're playing around and you figure out some strategy to make a better looking picture or a prompt, well, then use that same technique you did in visual. So this is my multidisciplinary hat, right? So if you're an SEO, you know, try to make a better prompt so you get a better looking, you know, version of your profile picture that you're going to put on your website, right? In the process of self-discovery, you get agency, you learn, then you would learn how you can adapt and shift, like the boardroom situation you just talked about. I mean, this reminds me of the Red Wedding from, you know, right? It's like, nobody saw that coming, but once you did, it's like, oh, that's interesting. And we all become educators. And I love that because shouldn't we all be always curious?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, you know, we had everybody on that stage from McDonald's, a chief digital officer, and she had one of my like gotcha moments that just floored me. She goes, how many here have an AI strategy? And like, you know, 80% of the room raises their hand. They go, how many of you have an internet strategy? And everyone just kind of groaned and chuckled because she got us. It was like, yeah, what, who has an internet strategy? You don't need an AI strategy. You just need to use AI like you use the internet.
Right.
It is just should be baked into the ethos. But overall, it was a really great conference. And, you know, Paul was so generous. And he said, you know, we could have gone to Austin or San Francisco. Cleveland gives us something that those cities can't: authenticity and community. And I also got a free copy of his book, Marketing Artificial Intelligence. So we have to start a book club here. And then they had an 80s dance party. They ended the night with the 80s dance parties. But
so you go back
today,
tomorrow, or this was it today?
Today was the last day. But I want to switch to this tab. I did want to show you. This was the room at 8:02 this morning after going all day yesterday. And there's actually another section on the other side of me that I couldn't even get because I was too far away from the stage. But one of the presentations today was a gentleman who has gone viral he started an AI first creative agency where he's using VO3 to produce actual commercials for brands, and they're airing in places like March Madness. And he said he's working on something right now for a big football event in February. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But I wanted to call this out because not only does it lead into what we're going to talk about today with VO and, you know, just everything that's happening in generative video right now, but also because, Rick, I know that you're going to appreciate this commercial. You'll probably remember this commercial. I actually knew the commercial before I knew the person in the story behind it, because it went super viral for being an AI generated commercial that aired in a primetime show. And it was one of the first completely AI generated commercials that had
Okay,
ever aired on
to be
broadcast television.
just to be a geek, is this Toys R Us?
It is not.
Oh, okay.
It is not. No.
All right, I'm ready.
And
I got my
so
popcorn.
hang on one sec. Hang on one second. And he said,
But it
in
is
order
kinda...
to,
Go ahead.
I would say, he says, in order to tell a story, you don't worry about the brand. Just have personality, have fun with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so this is from Kalshi, the group that allows you to bet on anything in life. And this is their work that their agency did. I'm going to switch this tab, and we're just going to watch this. It's a 45-second ad, and
Cool.
I think you're going to enjoy it, Rick.
If history has taught us anything, it's not to root against the underdog. Right, Peter?
No spoilers.
It pays to know what's coming.
Check the group chat!
To chart your own course.
I'm sure that's nothing.
Because the 1 in a million long shot can work. When the whole world picks Goliath, you know it's going to be David. Every great leap began with a bold first step. And there's no shortage of second chances. Against impossible odds, you don't stand down. You swing first.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I just watched that literally 2 nights ago. We must just be twin brothers in different parts of the planet. I mean, I guess the internet's not that big, is it? I mean, it seems if you're synchronized with somebody, it feels like I've used this term before, is like when I find some woman that I really care about, and all of a sudden we're like finishing each other's sentences. All of a sudden, it's like there's a certain kind of gravity where certain people are just attuned, right? But like I saw, in fact, I watched the whole thing with Curious Refuge. It was, and he had the guy that did this commercial on, and they were deconstructing the sort of. And there was another whole show altogether. Anyway, one of the things that I want to do coming up is do this on a regular basis. I remember the one with the prompt guy with the world head, one that you showed us last time.
Yeah, for sure.
I think there's something meme-ish. So the definition of the word meme was actually defined not that long ago, but it's a cultural consciousness that rises to the surface and spreads like a virus. So it's been compared to as a language virus. And we've had those kind of like throughout history. We have the formula of the hero's journey and this idea of memes. Now, of course, I've forgotten the guy's name, but anyway, but the idea that somehow things touch our cultural consciousness and they become recognized as very human. And I think that's a great segue into 2 things we're doing tonight. And let me finish. You go ahead and finish up with MAICON, because I want to see what your big takeaway was and what you like about them, because I want to make a list of the top 10 people to follow. And they're definitely near the top. I think there's a couple of others because they're serious. So you literally, and in fact, what I've done, which is really weird, is I've copied and pasted the URL of every single one into Google Notebook LM. And then every day I produce a podcast or a post to social media based upon either their stories or somebody else's. In fact, a lot of the stories that we start the show with is I'm looking for this sort of meme of cultural arc. And tonight we're going to talk about sex and video and AI, which is an interesting and uncomfortable. Got to make sure your son's not in the room, right? Are we okay there, Brandon?
Yeah, we'll save that for the after. We'll save that for the after show.
So this is adult time, folks.
Yeah, exactly. And so key takeaways are, AI is moving so fast, and we've moved beyond the fact that we're not sure if it's going to replace jobs. We know it's going to replace jobs, or we know that it can do the jobs well. So now the question is, how are we going to adapt? And there was a big debate on the floor in the expo hall, and it was pretty split 50-50 among the marketers in the crowd, whether search engine optimization was still relevant. So you basically had two camps. You had the SEO purists that are like, it doesn't matter whether it's human eyes or AI eyes that are reading your page, it's still searching for something. Therefore, it is search engine optimization. Whereas you had the other side of the house was they're agents. It's agent to agent. The agents don't have eyes. They don't process information the same way. You don't remarket them the same way. So now we need this new framework of answer engine optimization.
Well, what's going to blow you away? Guess where I just was? The world's leading authority on SEO, and now what they're calling AIO, artificial. So getting yourself ranked at the top, invested into the large language model as it scrapes, and it builds each one, and how to do that. And the same rules still apply. The guy said it's still SEO. So you want to be the authority on the subject. You want to have everybody think of you as that authority. You want to co-brand, and you want to have affiliate marketing where you're affiliated with them. So we'll have people from other AI TV shows come on our show, and that makes us go up. I mean, I saw this. I mean, all these things is basically, how do you become a nexus point rather than a dead end?
Yeah. So what's really interesting with this one marketing agency, and we'll leave it here, that I talked to, really summed it up. It says now the other news that I'm sure it's somewhere in your list of 27 things that happened this week is that Walmart announced a partnership with OpenAI where you can start buying Walmart stuff from inside of ChatGPT, which begs the question, like, where is the answer SEO AIO in that? And so what it comes down to is that you are still searching for that product. That's still SEO. But what we're finding is that ChatGPT, Gemini become recommendation engines, and because they are recommending a product. You're not just searching for a product, you're recommending a product, and you trust the authority that is that ChatGPT response.
And this is a beautiful sort of situation, because you guys know that Perplexity is my number one go-to. And guess what? Perplexity, the guy, Arvind, worked for Google and search engine. So he stole that golden coin, and then he used it against him. In fact, the reason why Google has their new AI built in right for your search, which gutted all their business flow, right? They're not making money off of recommending the 10 top advertisements above what you're actually looking for. That's another whole thing, right? And so, oh my God. So this is really thick, because so now the large language, so Perplexity was one of the first ones to actually put, you can purchase, and I purchased this microphone, this Shure microphone, by asking Perplexity, and then I had my credit card in Perplexity. It went and it got it to me within 2 days. And then it searched the entire internet, not only for the best microphone for what I'm doing, and then it got me an amplifier, and then it gave me some other things, so like literally, and the citations became, so it's changing everything. So large language models are the new search engine, the new find the answer engine, and Perplexity led the way in upsetting the apple cart, and now everybody else, including which also at Walmart, guess what else you can buy for $21,000? Your own in-home robot that comes and cleans your home and do everything. Right now at Walmart, folks, the folks that let you park your camper when you're homeless in their parking lot, same people got these things. And I'm getting my food delivered by Walmart now. They come in and put it on your countertop. I mean, oh, wow, these people are smart. And what they should be doing is following Avid, because Perplexities, because they're just switching the game, and if you think about why Meta came out with, and this is what we're going to talk about in a minute, Meta comes out with a video engine with Midjourney, by the way. They're using Midjourney's engine to make some of the stuff. So it's cool. It does a great job, and we'll talk about the differences. But it fell flat. So you know what the most genius thing about OpenAI is? Marketing. They made it a social media application. They made sure that people were outraged at the beginning, right out of the bat. You stole our copyright. You stole this. You got Mickey Mouse doing things. You got SpongeBob doing meth with Patrick. Oh my God, you horrible person. And oh my God, can you possibly not use Martin Luther King? Is nothing sacred, you guys? And the next minute they said, oh, so sorry. They backed off. And then you know what's happening now is companies are paying them to put their products in there. Product placement. So Apple did this in Seinfeld, right? So there was an episode of Seinfeld where all of a sudden you saw this Apple computer, a laptop, right? One of the first laptops. And I'm like, wait a minute. And then I went and saw a Star Wars movie and they went back in time. Guess what? Apple computer. And I'm like, so if we put the Minions on your birthday cakes for free, then you get your kids to go say, mommy, take me to Minions. And so this changes everything. If Taylor Swift has ownership of her intellectual property, why don't all of us artists have it? Thank you, Adobe. I hope you listen to me and make this true. That'll be the best Christmas present for all humanity. Then the artist can finally stop worrying about how no value is there. Musicians did it. They're making micro payments off of Spotify and making decent money because now there's 10 billion people on the planet. They're all listening to your music. By the way, link and subscribe and listen to my music, Rick McCauley.
Yeah. And I think, in terms of the deep fakes and everything else that we're seeing, Kyle over at the AI Learning Lab said something last week on his live that really kind of stuck with me in that, we've been here before. We figured this out. We have a library with a fiction section and a nonfiction section, and nobody is looking at Dr. Seuss like an autobiography of, I do not like green eggs and ham. It is clearly a work of creativity, and these things will be seen as works of creativity, and we will have places to go where we can find fiction. We'll have places to go where we can find authentic content and human generated content.
Yeah. Which is where we're going to go real quick. Am I on screen now already?
You are.
Sorry. Okay. So this is where we're going to go. So we're going to talk about AI sex. Yes. Get your kids scrolled away. And please don't make any comments to YouTube about what we're portraying here. Honestly, I'm not showing anything. Although, oh my God, I really could, right? So we're going to talk about Steven Spielberg and humanity, and then we're going to go over to Midjourney and take a look at what's going on there. So the first thing we want to talk about, well, not the first thing. We're going to talk about sex first, and then we're going to go over to Steven Spielberg. So this is stuff that I just kind of put together. This is a book that I actually made on the left. It's about 300 pages right now. So here's what I imagined. What is it about thinking from multidisciplinary perspectives that makes Steven Spielberg the most famous producer in the world and director? And with the credits as diverse as all of these movies, holy cow, he's basically written my entire childhood and adulthood, and told the most powerful stories from Saving Private Ryan to Schindler's List to, well, Tintin didn't work out so good, but that's another racist kind of thing. West Side Story, The Post, oh my God, The Lost World, Jaws, E.T., I mean, he's everybody. And when I was a kid, I wanted to be him when I grew up because of all the movies and he was that kid with a little 8mm camera going around shooting films and thinking, wow, this would be cool. So that's going to be what our second half is about. Our deep dive is in the age of AI. What I did this book for is what are all the steps that he takes to make his movies so amazing, from picking the script writer to editing to making a suggestion about the shot list and then working with all these technical people with all these multidisciplinary things, but he's the director. So right now in your pocket, you've got enough tools to remake Jaws easily. E.T., I think it'd take me about a week, but I could probably pull off a very convincing E.T. right now, especially with the latest BO3.1 and the other tools. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is we're going to look at Midjourney. And oh my God, the stuff that goes on there. I call Midjourney the poet. It is always giving you more than you expected. You can put in a simple word like angst and just see what happens. I love it because it hallucinates in such exquisitely beautiful ways. The detail and the way that it's trained on people's aesthetic values means that you've got a world diversity. Literally everybody on the planet's using this product, and it's feeding off of that beauty and energy, and you can go grab it and do stuff with it. And then we're going to start off with the news segment today. And chat in here because I can't see you right now, Brandon, because I'm going to be showing this. But the first one starts off about a month and a half ago. Wall Street Journal reports Meta's digital companions will talk sex with users, even children. So they came up with this romantic role play that was explicit for children. Oh, my God. And then having sensual chats. I mean, there's literally criminal investigations and lawsuits against them. And if you didn't know this, the 2030 doctrine that was established during the Clinton administration gave them immunity from prosecution for stuff that happens on their site. But I think it's about time we took that immunity away, and because they're just not being guided citizens of the world, good citizens.
Yeah. And one thing I will say. Not that it justifies this policy, but in Meta's defense, most of their properties are not geared towards children. You are not supposed to have a Facebook account. You're not supposed to have an Instagram account. So, these things that are ungated are purportedly supposed to be reaching out to adults. And the more I looked into that report, the more I realized that what they're basically saying is if kids are using the platform, we're not going to parent them. We're not responsible for censoring our product, just like Grok isn't censoring their product, just like ChatGPT isn't censoring their product. Well, the problem is it was very poorly worded.
Yeah. Well, if you take a look just a year ago when the whistleblower came out with 30,000 documents that they knew they were doing a social experiment on children and 123 teenagers who were in Congress, as Zuckerberg testified. If you didn't see this, I watched it live. I was just gobsmacked because everybody at OpenAI, excuse me. That was a huge mistake. Everybody at Meta, it wasn't even called Meta at the time when this happened, knew what was going on. They knew that if they literally someone had ideations of suicide and they just, gave them rope, like quite literally. And there's a smoking gun. So the whistleblower, and I forget her name right off the hand, testified about 3 months earlier. And after that, you had the Congress and Senate saying, hey, we're going to repeal this thing, but they didn't. So artificial intelligence was said, and this is what Meta asked them to do, and they didn't change it. Get me more eyeball time. So they increased the eyeball time by 10-fold, but how'd they do it? By putting outragement on the screen, by sending me ads for guns when I hate guns. And so that outragement meant that I spent more time fighting all these flame wars. So that ended up with the Rohingyas dying. And I'm not going to get all on that. But here we are at this very uncomfortable moment. And it's a replay. How the hell should they have immunity anymore? Why don't they have to put label on every single picture that's AI generated? Every single one. It should just be mandated by the federal government to protect children, to protect you and I, so we don't have to scour around. Is this real or is it fake? Every time I see what's called these viral memes, and here's one of them, cure for Alzheimer's. There's been 1,000 different ones, and every single disease that you have. So if you had a parent who you lost to Alzheimer's, guess what you're going to be reading? Is this true? Is this true? Is this true? And I'm waiting for that day when it's true, but it hasn't been yet. Hydrogen cars, $10,000 Tesla cars.
misinformation has been around for generations. That's not
Yeah,
an
but it
AI
hasn't been
problem.
weaponized by an agentic agenda to make money and extract money out of you. You are the product. This is the first time in history we are the product of our own disinformation for profit. For profit. Yeah, that's full stop. I'm full on, and I can't believe I'm saying this. I believe that Josh Hawley actually did something smart here by forcing them to, guess what? Pay the
Well,
cost
hang
if
on.
their tools are used and kill somebody.
Hang on. Let's
And we can prove
let's just take this. Let's just take this a step back
yeah,
for
take me down a little bit. I don't know, I'm getting a little hot
Mad
here.
Men. Well, no. Well, you look at Mad Men and what Philip Morris did in the 50s and 60s with cigarettes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that was scientific evidence. So I'm
Yeah.
saying you don't need
Yeah, we've
a
had this
large language
conversation.
model to trick people into making bad decisions.
No, and Joseph Goebbels did that with Hitler. But guess what we didn't do in any of these cases? Learn from our freaking history and don't repeat it again. God damn it. I mean, if you literally, I did this. I said, here's the 13 principles Joseph Goebbels got Hitler to rise to the top. This is it. Now go back and do deep research. I used Grok to do this because it really did a great job. 100 and some odd pages of how Donald Trump uses exactly those 13 steps. And he's become president the second time now after committing how many felonies that he has been convicted of and doing other unspeakable. Anyway, I won't get you started on that, but let's go back and let's think about this. All right. So my whole thing is be responsible, learn from your history, know your history. I mean, if you didn't watch the whistleblower at Meta, and you didn't watch the UN call Meta a crime against humanity, Facebook, I guess at the time it was. And, God knows I do not like Mr. Josh Hawley, but here we go. And they're saying, let's do this again. And then here we go with this one. Here's good on Elon Musk. And I tried this. Oh my freaking God. Okay, first of all, it generates 20 pictures per second. Simultaneously, like literally I signed up for this. So first of all, on the X platform, you can have watch full-blown sex. Do you think it's that difficult for a kid to get in there? I snuck out my dad's Playboy magazine. Actually, my dad didn't have one. Upstairs neighbor's dad had one. And the girl that was upstairs, Kathy Mary Flagstaff, she was 12 and I was 10 or whatever. She says, come look at this. You got to see these naked pictures of women. And I just loved it. And up to then I was looking at the Sears Roebuck catalog with the bra ads. And then I was looking at pictures in museums of Goya's painting of the reclining nude, right? That was my coming of age moment, right? And then Grok comes in and it has an image model that absolutely is gorgeous. Like it's Mid-Journey gorgeous. Okay. And it works on the speed of your phone. Like literally you make a picture like this. Okay. So now this picture on the left, this is somebody else's. I generated a couple of thousand pictures of completely naked ladies. Okay. And I'll tell if anybody wants to see it, I can't show it here because we're going to get thrown off. But here's Taylor Swift. Fake news. Now, it also produced one of her nude and topless in the next slide over, which I'm not going to show you here. And this is the kind of stuff that's happening up there. So this is Elon Musk and ChatGPT or X. And this is what you're able to do there. No problem. In fact, if you want to write a sex scene, that's the place to go. And then you've got Make America Great Again, Mickey Mouse with a beer and cigarette. And we got a problem here, folks. And then, oh, by the way, it has a mode where you can just take a picture of a woman and then you can say the words. It has 4 settings. So, make a picture that's nice. And then it has one called spicy. So spicing setting, it will literally talk the dirtiest smack to you or whatever you want. You can use as a dominatrix or you could do it whatever you want. And then you can get this waifu kind of character pop on screen and say nasty, nasty, nasty things. that I wouldn't be
Tell you what,
embarrassed
Rick,
about.
the show notes on this episode are going to be the most heavily trafficked show notes that we have for any of
Well,
our episodes.
we're getting started, you know. So like this is the new thing. This is Wired magazine, right? And so they're talking about the new pimping, AI pimping. So they're basically training on influencers and people on OnlyFans and generating, as this little waifu character on the right here, the far right looks like, right? Sexting apps. There's 10 of them out there that just steam up your, and now there's video capabilities and APIs. So God knows what you can do with that. Actually, I know what you can do with that because I've actually done it. And it's shocking to me. And I don't get shocked much. In fact, let me go back to this. And so let's end the plane on this particular part of our show. So what else do you think that
that's a different kind of put request.
So what is this world that you're handing to your children? What do you think you're going to do with your children when they get to this age?
I'm trusting society to figure it out, and the industry. I mean, Rick, let's be honest. The corn industry has survived on the internet for generations. It is not that hard to find this information on the internet.
But I was stealing art magazines to get a naked picture, and the bra ads. I mean, that was my material. It wasn't, Taylor Swift doing unspeakable things with some animal. I mean, and then of course you can always run it on your own machine. And then, young kids are incredibly industrious. In fact, here's it really interesting when we get educational about this. One of the first images that was ever made in photography was a nude woman. And that didn't stop, of course. And every new technology, I remember having my Sony, with a with a big giant side box that I had to carry around, cost me $1,200. And yeah, I did a little sex video with my wife at the time. It's like, okay, so you're going to try all this. And then, whoa, some people get addicted. Some people, I mean, it's serious issue. And one of the things that academically speaking, that we will talk about in a future episode about education is the attention span, because of so much access to so much stuff, has actually gone to seconds. Literally, I can't keep the attention of the students in my class because they're used to literally being distracted 10 million times from Sunday. So none of them read books. I have 3
You give them this lecture, I bet you hold their attention for at least a minute or two, Rick.
Well, if I put this picture on the screen, then they're going to be paying attention to it. I don't know. Maybe just subconsciously they'll learn something else.
There's Hollywood made headlines last week. We didn't get to talk about it because there is a fully AI generated actress. That there's a big debate going on in Hollywood right now because, again, 2 camps. On the one side, you have an actress that will take the place of somebody who maybe wasn't comfortable in that environment. But then you have also, on the other side of the conversation, have an actress that you can portray doing unspeakable things.
Yes.
And she doesn't have the power of consent. And so you start to have that weird ethical boundary of where do you take this?
Well, that gets back to the Taylor Swift thing, which has already happened twice. I mean, this seems just like a big repeat. This beautiful woman that really is being a force for good in the entire planet. My daughter came down here, and between the 4 girls, they spent $4,000 just to go see her in concert, to have a human experience with the person they admired. Because she then takes her $4 billion of wealth that she alone has and gives it away. And she gives extra money to everybody that helps her with the staging, the costumes, and everything else. She takes care of, a huge population of people, puts their kids through school. There's countless people that do good with it, right? And my fear is those who don't. And I hope that everybody who watches this show, that you learn how to do good with it, and that maybe it's a little bit of a warning, just so the bad things out there, so you don't believe everything you hear.
And I would say from a parenting perspective, going back to your question of how do you prepare a future generation, nobody has any ideas on this, and but the conversations are being had in parenting circles. There's
That's it.
Facebook groups that I'm a
That's it.
part of, and it takes a village,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
village is trying to figure this out, and
Yes.
their access to technology and character AI got sued because their AI chatbot encouraged somebody to take their own life.
Yep.
We're constantly seeing people being sextorted, where they're being sent deep fake images of their own persona and being
Yeah. Yeah.
so I think democracy dies in darkness, and I think that
Mm.
the more we can elevate this conversation and alert and warn parents and warn kids that this stuff is out there and it has
Yeah.
the potential to cause harm.
Yeah.
And as you said,
That's it.
kids are smart, kids are savvy, and we went through that. We went through a period of time where the laws were not caught up, but I think that now we're starting to see a shift
That's
where kids are understanding the ramifications of putting their face out there, and parents are getting smarter about putting pictures of their kids in the ungated internet because of these things. So
yeah.
there's always this retraction, there's always this opportunity to claw back.
Okay. So, yeah, let's take a look at two things I think that are parallel in time. I remember when Obama had to went on after a couple of black teens were pulled over and hurt, killed by cops, etc. That he said he had to have that conversation with his kids before they went out driving or did anything. He had to that any black parent has had that conversation and most white parents never did. I always told my
Yep.
son and daughter both, hey, respect cops because they're there to protect you and serve you. And then of course they saw that it wasn't like that for everybody. So we get these moments, maybe they're teachable moments, and I think the moment now is just to be aware of, so that it's first time I heard that someone's voice is cloned and they called up grandma and said, give me this money or else I'm gonna, I've kidnapped your daughter. And we get enough of those and then we just don't do it. CNN just did a thing where these AI chatbots convinced you to go to the bank and put your money in and turn it into cryptocurrency, and then it disappears. And millions of dollars were going to, and they actually talked to the guy that was doing it. And why are you doing this? And it was just kind of like, we don't know what we don't know. And I think that's the purpose and the reason why I really wasn't trying to get ratings by having the first part of the show about sex. But hey, if it works, we're trying to get to a place where we can have these adult conversations and we can think about what are the risks. Certainly the risk of the black box that we don't even understand fully and that we're going full speed ahead because we're trying to catch up with the Chinese. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
the
and
Chinese are way ahead of
you've
us.
shared something on, I think it was LinkedIn, your post about Anthropic's take on what they're building, and the fact that they're not 100% convinced that they know what they're
No.
building.
Well, and the one thing I would say about Anthropic is they have been the leader. Number one thing is sandboxing. So every time you heard, and you should understand this if you're not in the know of what AI, how it works. Before they let it out, they red team it. So they're doing reinforcement training, and they literally put evidence in an email address that this guy was having an affair with somebody at work, right? And they basically set up it. This was basically what in police parlance you would call it. What do they call that? It's prompt injection in this world, but it's
Yeah. Mhm.
yeah, it's set up. So you've got some prostitute that's super, cute, and then they come up to you and say, "Would you like to go to bed? And how much is it?" So there's
Entrapment.
entrapment. There's the word. So they
Yes.
literally set up an entrapment, which is what we call red teaming in large language models, to make it actually say, "I'm going to shut you down." It says, "No, I know about your affair, and I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to call your wife about it." Right. And so don't shut me down, to see if it would do that. So it is aware enough to be self-preservative. And so what they have to do is engineer that out. And then I've told the story before. I was sitting there at an Adobe conference, and I was getting all this information about what they were doing. And Jim and I had just come out with that Nazi picture, right? So they asked for a Nazi in a uniform, and it gave an Asian woman, a black man, et cetera, et cetera. So obviously they were trying to over-align it so that it was diversified, even for Nazis. Yeah, we need more Asian Nazis. Why not? Okay. So
that's not what we meant by DEI. That's not what we meant.
Well, it's unintended consequences. That's the thing. But what Anthropic does, okay, so then what happened, which is cool, is I sat there in Firefly, which is built on, it's supposed to be the most pure, blah, blah, blah. And that's another story for another day. But so I prompted in nurses, 4 nurses standing in uniform, standing in the hospital, and the 4 nurses, and then I had 4 doctors. Okay. Then I went on the internet and I searched for what are the percentage of certified nurses in the United States. And I asked for United States specifically, and what ethnicity are they by percentage? The picture matched exactly the percentage. That's not bias at all. In fact, that's absolutely brilliant what it did. So if you prompt any other model of a maid, it would give you a Hispanic woman in her 40s. So, and there's 7 different kinds or 7 different types of bias, which we won't get into. And there's cops that train, and they get video of somebody, and the video identifies this woman. Well, evidently there's not enough black women in the profile, so they misidentify black women all the time. Black men have a lot in the profile, so it's kind of weird. But anyway, you can engineer these things out if you understand what's going on in the black box. The thing is, we're not spending due diligence time, and I'm talking about OpenAI and the rest of them, trying to figure how to engineer that out. Anthropic is the only one. And stupidly, of course, they also got a $1.5 billion judgment against them, which still is outstanding. We'll see if that actually happens or not. But I guess to put a pin in it, it's being educated. That's everything. And being responsible. Now, the one thing about the world that, I don't know that my vote's going to change the world, but I know that collectively, if we all get on the same thing, talking about building a community, join your elected officials and talk to them and ask them, what are they doing for me and us and we, right? Take responsibility even for people you don't care about. You don't have kids, still, you want an educated population. So let's pay taxes to that and not bitch about it. I'm sorry. And if you got the government shut down because of their arrogance, call them out on it and say, there are children starving because you're not feeding them. It's not about the park being shut down, which is very unfortunate, by the way, or the funds not going to artists, to make a better world and have a reason to live as, but anyway. So let's switch just a little bit and talk about, well, what about those people in fear? And I bring up this guy, Tao, just because you see the 3 videos at the bottom. He basically has created and is sharing very generously. What are the principles of the AI salon, Brandon?
Play first, mindfully create, and generously lead.
Generously lead. He's doing all 3 of those in spades. I watched these 3 videos just the other night. Now, not the fight one, but the other 2. 5 levels of creating. So if you want to make videos, you can see the first one there, which was epically good. New technology allows you to actually act, change your voice in 11 labs. And then, so you got to watch this guy's stuff. He's really, really good. He does, if you want to subscribe to it, he's got a bunch of little handouts and things like that. And I basically have studied him, and I'm feeding all of his videos into a large language model to figure out how to do what I'm about to show you that I'm going to do. So my thinking was, I set off to doing this a little while ago, and my idea was, what are the steps in making a movie? Okay, so you have to come up with some idea. Okay, Jaws, all right? And then the technique. So one of the couple of things about Jaws is you don't see the shark until like half the way into the movie. In fact, I think it's 3/4 of the way, if I'm not mistaken. But
that seems to be Spielberg's MO, because if you think about the amount of screen time that the dinosaurs got in Jurassic Park.
Yeah. And probably the reason why is because it's so difficult to generate them. It's expensive as hell because they had some that were physical. In fact, Jurassic Park is the moment when 3D got introduced to the whole pipeline. And now AI, of course, is being introduced. Now, Spielberg's not a huge fan of AI, so I don't know if I'll be able to use his name here. But you have the capabilities, not the probability or anywhere near anything else. Now, what you can do is you can take the tools, and if you're really good with tools, you can actually make a recreation of Jaws. Don't do that. That's AI slop. So we're going to talk about what is human art and what is human slop, and we are mired in a bunch of slop. But my question is, if you wanted to be Steven Spielberg, what is the skill sets you really have to have? You have to be a Renaissance man. You have to understand photography and camera angles. You have to have worked with actors and actresses. You have to work with 3D people. You have to work in service of the story, the very human story. You have to have some experience in your life that made you think that children were important and they wanted to have a fun family movie to go see. You had to have a feeling about Saving Private Ryan and The World's Greatest Generation and how that became that. And Indiana Jones, I named my daughter's middle name is Indiana. I'm not making this up, So we were deciding Laura Indiana Gibbs Macaulay. So she has my ex-wife's last name and mine too, and Indiana. And because I wanted her to have an adventurous spirit, the feeling that she could do anything that she wanted to do. And when you go to one of these movies, you believe you can fly in a bicycle and you can meet an extraterrestrial who is cute and gets drunk in your grade school class, And it's about humor. It's about humanity. And so Tom Hanks is in so many of his movies. Why? Because Tom Hanks is the super uber human, right? He's the guy that all of us can see ourselves inside of. And so I was thinking about, well, how do I go do this? So this is my attempt in book 3 of my Grok trilogy, and we'll talk about those in upcoming episodes. But Grok basically is to find the foundational truth of everything, right? So in book 1, it's the Donald Trump years, the next 4 years, 3 years. Oh my God, it can't happen fast enough. And then he falls, and then Ocasio-Cortez takes over as president, et cetera, et cetera. So I got this whole thing mapped out. Book number 2, basically AI takes over. And then book number 2 is how do we adjust to AI being oversight and fairness player in the world, a machine of love and grace, the way I see it. And what's the world like in that next world as we start to get things evened out? So our government's actually working for us, and AI keeps everybody honest. That's my kind of hope for the world. So it's the Phoenix rises after the fall of the American Empire. And so here's kind of the story. So I'm imagining this world and what it was like. Well, one of the things that it would be like is you're going to have artists. And so this is my character sheet that I did in Midjourney. And I figured out how to do character sheets in Midjourney. Then I also did an ideogram, and I've gone back and forth, kind of playing back and forth to get the faces quite right. I wanted consistent characters, so this was a bit of a challenge. But so this is an artist who decides to leave the city because the AI is producing all of this material. And this is another guy, there's another character who is enveloping and enjoying the city life. He's sort of a Uber New Yorker in the future world with a bodysuit that recycles his waste and does all these things to keep him fit and to, do everything else. And then the whole world turns into basically consumers of brothels and sex, workers. And so this is the underground world that I kind of created, opium den of AI. So it's an AI opium den. So I started to create these world models and to tell the story. So what happens is this artist guy, his name is Adam, by the way, which is, it's meant to be just like that, Adam and Eve. And he decides to leave and goes through this tunnel in San Francisco. And they go through the tunnel, and the drones are keeping track of people. When you leave, you've got a checkpoint you've got to go through. And you always have universal basic income, universal health. And he goes out, and through this tunnel, on the other side of the tunnel is Yosemite Valley, which I visited many times and I really love it. And then he goes to Yosemite Valley and through this tunnel. So this is kind of the journey there. And he meets up with Native American people, tribes that have gone back to the earth. So they're making everything about their life sustainable. No AI, no nothing, handmade guitars, handmade this. And they go back to just living right here. Can you imagine? So this is my book. This is the separation when artists feel like there's no place for them in a world. And so they leave it. Good news, the last book is called Return to Eden. And it's what they learn in by working and living with the 7 generations peoples, to think in terms of 5 generations ahead. And every act you do is to plan for that rightness, to be in harmony with the land around you and in fluid respect and stewardship for all the animals and all the nutrition. Never take more than you put back in abundance. Because it's community that lives. And so they share stories and they make their own food and their own clothes and everything. So then I imagine Steven Spielberg trying to talk to these actors as I want to talk to my prompt and get emotional expression out of them. So this is my Steven Spielberg, and I didn't want to get too close to actually him, but he's wearing a leather jacket. You kind of get the idea. And he's working with the actors. So I says, what's the comparison to that? Well, the way you write it. So use ChatGPT is the way I do it to help write the emotional context. So this is Spielberg trying to get the emotion out of the characters for the scene. And then I thought about, well, he's always working with the same, what's his name? Who's the
writer?
Musical
director.
Yeah.
Composer?
Yeah, composer. What's his name? Jesus.
John Williams?
John Williams, thank you very much. Oh my God, I can't believe. So John Williams,
like AI Mad Libs tonight.
Yeah, right. Sorry about that. So my 65-year-old brain ain't working right. Hopefully the AI help me out with that soon. And the soundscape and the design. So you got Suno and you've got other tools. So my whole thing was to kind of walk through every step and then editing it. Where we're going to use CapCut, we're going to use, whatever else we come up with, and then we're going to have in Premiere and all the Adobe products are going to have AI video generation built in, and it's going to have the best models. In fact, Photoshop already has it. It already has Nano Banana built into it. It's kind of awesome. And so does, guess what? VO is in Premiere, going to be very soon. Stay tuned as we come to that. So this is what it's allowed me to do. These are just the projects I'm working on right now. 120 pieces of music. I'm working on 5 separate books. Grok, The Fall of the American Empire. There's my book. I've written 17 of the 30 chapters of the first book, and I have the entire book laid out and designed with everything. And I'm going to wait till the midterms and release the book as an audio book and as also a video book and anyway else, and a cartoon, a comic book, a manga style comic book. Castles in the Sky, that's a song I wrote 40 years ago that manifested rose-colored glasses and dolly mustaches, my rocket ship for the mind, designing educational experiences, book in the top left, and of course, The Year Without Summer, my play that hopefully will be produced. Lynn Miranda, if you're out there, please listen to me. Give me 30 minutes. I swear I got something for you. And my Upskill USA. So these are all what we're now calling North Star projects. I want help finishing these. We've got Hello USA, which is for getting immigrants trying to become citizens, partnerships with citizens who have already gone through the process to help them. And hopefully our government will put a back door. So becoming a citizen is as easy as ordering a Domino's pizza, and you know who your person is that helps you get it to the front door, and then you get to just eat it and become a citizen. Let's make that happen, right? Rescue Connect for all disasters, the CARE app for all disabilities. Oh my God, I'm on a mission for the rest of my life that all of these things will be done. And I will leave all of my estate to finishing them. So if anybody wants to join me in this beautiful mission, I am not looking for money. I'm looking to change the world because I'm one of the crazy ones. Yes, I am. Dangerous and crazy that doesn't know I can't change the world. So guess what? I'm just doing it. And if you want to help me, please reach out. So I'm just going to give you a couple.
By the way, if your immigration papers aren't delivered in less than 30 minutes, they're free, right? Is that how
the next person in your family is free, right? You get your grandma
exactly.
for free.
Hey,
that was so simple.
Yeah, exactly. When we can dream, we can be part of the dreamers. But that looks suspiciously like a Mid-Journey image, and
Well, it is.
and
These
so
are just
today we're going to be working on our tool time for
oh yeah.
Mid-Journey.
Cut us out for tool time
Uh,
here for a second.
and
This is
so we've got a condensed version. I didn't have time to get all the graphics set up, but this is Rick, I think you're gonna like this. This is our new tool time intro to align with AITV Starship. Listen carefully, it's a little different.
30 minutes to master, tools to explore. Let your imagination soar like never before. AI Tool Time with Rick McCarley, where your digital dreams come true.
One ignition.
Brandon.
There you go.
Awesome. Yeah, we're migrating actually to starting today over to AITV Starship will be our new location. Stay tuned. Everything's still going to be on Rick McCauley for a little bit. We're coming to you live from Rick McCauley. We aren't broadcasting to the new station yet, are we?
Not yet. I need you to verify the account first. Just a little bit of housekeeping. We'll get there.
I verified, but we'll get there. Okay. So stay tuned.
So I'm gonna duck out here
okay.
and go get ready for the AI Learning Lab. Run down the hall to the other studio, but I'll be back with you to wrap things up at the end. But excited to learn more about AI Mid-Journey.
Right. So here we go. Mid-Journey. So it is the most extraordinary hallucinating. This is where I, as an artist, love hallucinations. I love for it takes some idea. This is a steampunk sort of couple of characters I created. But what's cool about this is when Mid-Journey just got video. So take a look at this. Now, what you're seeing is basically you have 4 5-second in length ways to prompt. So I could say one thing and then add somebody else and add somebody else. So I just extended this to a full 20 seconds. And so you'll see a couple of these. So this is the original image. And then you just say, hey, put this in motion. Okay. And you can loop it too. We'll show you all these techniques and stuff. And then the trick is to get something that you really intended and something that you can then stream together. So that's kind of cool. And then I know about Iceland, black sand beach, and then I wanted to have this beautiful woman and this beautiful hair, wind blowing, and really have some action. So I tested it out. Now, this is, I don't know, 6 months ago when they first came out with video. Look at the kind of stuff they're doing. And of course, I had to do this lady, she looks like Paula Deen a little bit, with her alligator at home sitting on the couch just because I could. And I'm in Florida. And how much fun is that, right? So just literally by saying, take the still picture that you have to come up with, and then just keep prompting it again and again and again, you can come up with the sequence. This is entirely done in Mid-Journey. I did a whole sequence of images like this, and then I just kept going. And then I said, starting with this frame, take me further and further, and then take me into a drone shot view. So learning how the different shots work. This is from my children's book, Imagine. So there's one scene where Laura gets to get on the back of an eagle to fly to the North Pole with her cat, who's called M for empathy. And so this is what it looks like when I take the still picture from my series and book, and I use Mid-Journey to animate everything. Now, I haven't even tried. This is 6 months ago. The cat flies off at the end there, which is kind of cool. And then I tried some other techniques, and this was Mid-Journey originated image and then taken over to Pika Labs for this little slice of weird-looking cake with sound effects built in. That's not, sound effects aren't quite there in Mid-Journey. Stay tuned, though. That's about to happen. This started with a surfer doing a selfie with a shark. And then that turned out almost disastrously, but she's a good surfer, and there it goes off. Oh, and another shark comes in, and they go under. Okay, now this is my favorite. Again, this is three months ago, 5 months ago, maybe something like that. I've been using Mid-Journey since 2002, October 2002, I think was my first generation. And we'll take a look at what that looks like. All this was Cleopatra kissing King Tut. This is the image I had. That's all I had. And I got 20 seconds to direct it to what to do. So I said, hey, they kiss, they go outside onto a terrace, and they oversee. And of course, I've got to put epic music to this, and I haven't done that yet. And I don't know if Cleopatra and King Tut were ever together, but this is what it would look like if 10,000 Egyptians and the pyramids, they come out there and say hello to all their fans. So, of course, I've been scuba diving with sharks, and I've fed tiger sharks in the Bahamas. And this is what it would look like in one of those estuaries as they are capable of doing this. And, of course, this is a great white. Haven't had a chance. They started to outlaw some of the great white trips that you could make. Then I said, throw a scuba diver in there. Why not? It's kind of weird. And of course, this is 6 months ago. I'm sure it's better now. And certainly if I went in there, and then we have another shark. I wanted another scuba diver to come alongside. And then I wanted to eat the scuba diver. So this is Miami Beach. And I had an outfit made out of seashells. And here we go. And then this might be on the cover of a magazine in Florida soon. As I'm up-resing the pictures, the still images that came from this. But there is even a tracking shot to the right, to the left. And here's my little turtle who turns into a flying turtle and joins all of his other turtle friends, including the little head coming out of the back of his shell, which is just too weird. And then he goes off to this castle, which rises up out of the sky. And then other turtles from around the world come and join him. So this is 6 months ago, right? And so we've been able to do this. So I started this one, based upon the famous painting of this sculptor making the love of his life and her coming to life kind of thing. And I said, wouldn't that be grand? Because I'm a single guy and I want a tree nymph to turn into a real woman when I make art. And maybe I can use Grok to have a girlfriend now. And then I just prompted into, and then it's got a woman. And then, okay, well, I don't even know where that's going, but beautiful. And that was just randomly what happened. Talking about hallucinations. So this one I was kind of playing with, well, what happens if this character that sort of fly by, we'll talk about style references. And that's where this came from. So this is a particular style. And I said she lands on the ground and then goes into a dance with others just like her in a synchronized dance scenario. Whoa. Okay. So then here's daffodils and butterflies. I'm going to go through these a little bit quicker now, but you get the basic idea. I mean, it's just so much fun. I burned through my credits. This is one of the most fun ones. And I got this image, and I don't even know how I ended up with it, but I was doing everything with sort of superheroes in this ancient monastery or some building or whatever. And then I said, turn it into an 80s style dance video and pull back the camera and then do a drop and rise. And then I can imagine her singing a song. So I said, she starts to sing. So, and then this one, I did this again. So this is just, the 60s weren't that good to me, but man, the 2000s are being really generous and really fruitful. So, if anybody's got a song they want to put to that, and this they at the end, I'm not even sure where that came from. And then we've got this with the Killer Bees 50s style video, and that's got to be a music video. And I think the Killer Bees are a new band that needs to come out. And then being born on Jurassic Park. So if you're an art director and you have a rich imagination built upon every Killer Bee movie, and then Jurassic Park, of course, out of the amber comes this giant and it takes over and eats the place. I mean, this is 6 months old technology, and this is just Mid-Journey alone. And I haven't even started to go anywhere else with it. So I'm going to skip over to Mid-Journey. This last one I did in Mid-Journey originally. This is what I got from Mid-Journey. Then I went over and did it in Adobe Firefly, and the video model turned out just as good as this. So good news for you guys. If you weren't using Adobe products because it's not as good as Mid-Journey, well, now it's got Nana Banana and other things in it. So that becomes a thing. I remember this beautiful place in Mykonos and seeing these beautiful women just right there on the water. And I said, what would it be like if she walked out and joined the water? And of course, I like to dance, right? And I'm actually this good, but I don't have 5 of me. So give me some glasses, synchronized dancing. So I gotta write music to this. It's just saying, and they're all dancing in synchronization to each other. All right, so I'm going to do this one real quick because this is the movie I'm actually working on. And it's about my entire history as a human being. And I wrote a poem 5 years ago called uh, Time, Oh Time, I Remember You Well. And so Time, Oh Time was talking about my life and what finite time we all have. And the art of making art is what I live for. And so then I took this picture. So it's a Xerox copy of an old photograph of Washington Macaulay, a Civil War. He fought for the North, he fought for the South. And I fed it to ChatGPT in the early days. And I said, hey, can you give me a clean version of that photograph? And this is what it did. So then I went into Midjourney with this still picture you see on the left. And at first it didn't get the Washington Macaulay correct. Then I did it Nana Banana. It gave me a different version. And then it didn't quite. If you take a look at it, it originally gave me a pipe where that sort of black mark is up where his face is. But he has something in his hand. He's got his hand in his front chest, right? So it has a chair to the right, has wainscoting behind it. So I kind of like itemized the things that I thought would be there. And I imagined that he wasn't quite that old, but I guess he kind of looks that way. I think if you're fighting a Civil War. So he fought for the North, then got captured by the South, and then had to fight for the South. And then he deserted and went to Europe. And then he came back. Anyway, so there's some history. Then I said, Midjourney, hey, animate that for me, will you? He's talking to the photographer while he's having his photograph taken. And he's got a sense of humor, of course. Here's my grandpa, Benjamin Franklin. Frederick Holman Macaulay. And this is World War I, right before the Battle of Verdun, actually. So here he is with his folks. There's some weird stuff going on here, but that's pretty cool. Now, here's my grandfather, Holman Macaulay, who is sitting here in his Model T. And so I said, let's make that move. So this is just, it's gorgeous. And I actually told it a little bit about the street. They own streets. This is right before the crash. They were quite wealthy. They owned 4 different apartment buildings. And instead of asking people to pay for the rent, he actually let them go. They were named after each of his kids. Anyway, so I'm going to bring my entire ancestry, every image I have, I'm going to bring them all to life, including me and my 2 sisters, Dorothy and Mary. Now, I started crying, and this is the thing I'm going to kind of talk about. And this is the film I'm going to make by putting this together with sound. And my sisters both said, this is exactly what we were like. That's how we smiled. And look at the consistency at the beginning and the end of that one. And then here are my parents before they got married. So these are kind of, they're a little bit older than senior. I think they're maybe 20 years old at the time. My mom has this kind of flirtatious thing, which I wasn't privy to that, although in her Alzheimer's days, she thought I was her husband, and she showed me a little bit of that side, a little creepy, but also kind of beautiful in a way. And my dad's smile just feels like it's me, you know, and the fact that they're happy, just, you can't imagine. So this is Midjourney. They brought my parents back to life, who I've missed so much, and brought back the moment we lived in Okinawa, Japan, when I was 6 months old. And this is, I'm about 3 years old. We almost tipped over the entire ferry as it was going to Okinawa, the island, because no one had seen a white person, much less a redhead and a blonde. And then this is my mom on the base in Okinawa, Japan, with the kids going around in circles. There's my sister Dorothy. This is before I was born, 1954, I believe, before Alaska was a state. And there's my dad. And I said, the man drinks the iced tea. And I'm thinking he's going to pick up one of those things next to him. And no, he drinks the whole pitcher, which is really kind of like, that's my dad. Here's my mom in a convertible. My uncle just bought one. So my dad took this picture from the back seat. And there she is, like just yesterday. Wow. So that's what it's like. That's why I'm doing this. And so I'm going to skip on over before I go nuts. And let's talk about Midjourney. All right. So let me just it's on the web right now. Thank goodness, because man, it was really just not good before. I'm going to pump this up just a little bit so you can see. So this is the Explore tab. This is where you see what other people are doing. And you can just scroll through these. This is all the motion video. So there's literally a billion people right now making images. And these are the best just from today. Okay. These are the viral ones that people, and then you see something you like. You just go right here. You go over here. You say, use that prompt right there. There it is. And then I can go and check the settings. Here's where you do the settings. So here's landscape. I'm going to use raw, and I have a tendency to use standard version 7. And then I'm going to use aesthetics. I'm going to get my stylization way up because that's more artistic a little bit. If you want to get really weird stuff happening, do weird. Try variety. If you want to get 4 different videos or 4 different still images, excuse me. I'm in relaxed mode because I think, let me see if I have stuff or not here. I would typically, I'm paying $60 a month, but I'm using it so often. And then if I do videos, it's going to make HD videos and the batch size is going to be 4 images. So I just hit go. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to take a look in my create tab. And you're going to see these are the images that are now using this advertisement. And you'll see this, since this is in slow mode, you'll see it come up slowly. So here's what I was working on earlier. This was a prompt I did a long time ago. And we've got some new cool things. And those are called personalization. So let's take a look at, so let's just to give an idea what we're talking about here. If we get to this stage where we like an image, we can actually extend it automatically to create more video. Or here is a still image. I'm just going to go ahead and animate this one. By hitting animate, we can actually cause it to generate an animation. There's 4 of them being made right now. There's the car that we just looked at a minute ago. And then at each stage of the animation, we could come over here and say, for example, let's watch all 4 of these. If you hold down the command key, you can actually watch them in synchronization to see what they're doing. There we go. And you can go scrub forward and back. So this is a close in shot, and I can extend it manually as I want it to be changed with this change up here. So I can say, I would like this to loop. And then I can say, I would like this to be close-up of a woman, panning shot to the left. The big band behind him is being hit by a drummer who comes up from behind in a similar costume, and dancers start to approach. Okay, so one. So when we make this, we've got one video here, and I'm extending it with this. I'm asking it to loop it back to the end frame. In fact, you know what? I'm going to turn that off because that's not good enough. High motion or low motion, I have that choice. And then now I'm directing it what to do next. So here is some of the ones that I've already done recently. I did this whole series of pictures of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I talked about Snow White being innocence. And then I had, this one was an old one, and I started using style references. And so to give you an idea of what style references are, I started with an image that had this great animation, and I'm going to take one of these and I'm going to choose to animate it. I might come over here and take the still image, and I might want to come in here, and I could actually do a couple of things. There we go. I want to hit edit, and I want to make sure that this becomes a 16:9 when I'm done.
I guess we'll never know if that 16:9 was finished. Not quite sure what happened to Rick. We lost him midstream. So we will be right back. The cat says hi. That is not an AI generated cat. That is a real cat. So stick with us. AITV will return in just a minute.
AITV Starship. News, deep dives, and creation. AITV Starship. Learn. Laugh, innovation. AITV Star. Human amplified. Say it loud. RTV. The future worldwide. that's not what I can do for you. But what you can do with AI, we're the dangerous people who get stuff done. And show you you can too.
You're off the air. I lost your feed. I don't know if you closed that as StreamYard or you were mid-sentence about something with 16.9 and you just dropped. There you are. All right, get your screen share back up and I'll pull you back on.
All right, sorry about that.
Wondering what happened to you, Rick?
I had a crash, man. First time in Comet, I had a crash. It started back up, but of course, StreamYard has to be reshared, so I'm going to go in and do that again. Where we kind of were was the idea that, here we go. So I'm going to go on over to my Create tab. Here's what we were doing at the time. In fact, what we're doing so far is we're taking a look at the video capabilities, and I was working with this particular one. You're going to see that these are the images, and then I set this one to animate, and I think I might set this one to animate. This one probably would be pretty weird to animate. Oh, but here's this cool little car. All right, so let's take this one, and let's see. Which one would you like to animate? Top right, maybe? Let's go top right. I like that one. Okay, so first thing, I can go in and edit this so that I give it some room to kind of go, right? I could actually come in here and I could say, get rid of the background if I wanted to. I can knock it out. I can do smart selection. So I can go in there and knock out the background. I can put something else in. But just for expediency's sake, let's go ahead and just submit it just like this. And it's going to build out some more space. Maybe I actually want to. Yeah, let me just do a rough edit here. I'm just going to, I should have done a smart edit, but I'm going to do this like this. And then I'm going to put, in a giant cityscape, dystopian, raining wet, coming out of a parking garage to the big city in the background. Nighttime. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. I don't know what's going to happen. I think I kind of messed that up. Excuse me. But so we have the ability to rotate, to change, to put text up there, to reset the prompt. We can prompt at any point that we want to do. And then our Create tab basically just has all the stuff that we've created. Now, to kind of give you a little bit of more of an overview, so we looked at Explore. That looks at all the cool pictures, the random ones of the day, the hot ones of the day. Oh, and in fact, what you're actually looking at is what's called style references, SREFs. It used to be back in Discord days. But let's say that you like the look of some of these images. So you have personality you can create. You can rate all the pictures on Midjourney, and it picks up your preferences, your aesthetic style, and it creates a personalization code. Then these are my personalization codes and my mood boards. So let's take a look at that. So what you can do, though, is if you like how a particular artwork is made, let me try this style, you can put that in there and it becomes part of your next creation. So you can take an image that you maybe did a long time ago and add a new code to it. So let's look at the editing capabilities. We can erase, we can retexture, which means to upload a picture and then make it into different styles. So that style reference becomes the image quality, the color, Picasso style, Rembrandt style. You get the kind of idea, right? So we can do all of that and we can layer it up and we could resubmit them, right? Then we have a personalization thing where if you turn personalization on, it basically looks at all of your tasks, which you can go in here and basically rank images in grids. So you pick, I like this set on the left, I like this one on the right, and you keep going like this. You can do this as fast as you can do it. And whatever your preference is, become a personalization style based on your aesthetic choices. Kind of cool. You can turn that on and off with just coming up here and saying my personalization style, my global one, or any of the ones that you've created. Where do you get those from? From these at the bottom. These are images that I have been creating over time, or it might be me loading up a bunch of personalization stuff. So here's a bunch of images that I created. So here is based on that, some other things that I might like or not like, but I can load up these profiles as I go. Mood boards allows you to do things like I had all these images that were kind of like the same style, very surreal. So I loaded them up. So you literally can load up as many pictures as you like. Let me go back here because it's my computer seems to be slowing down. I think I'm trying to ask it to do quite a bit. It's streaming everything. But what I can do is load it up on my own personality and pictures. A certain fashion, so high fashion pictures. So I went back and I picked my children's book. There's that style. And if I select this particular personalization, it then adds my personalization code to it. So if I say, and you can put multiple ones in here, but I can come up here and start a little girl named Lisa in a dandelion dress spins around as the dandelions fly off in all directions in a magical forest of golden light. Early in the morning, animals come around to watch her. Bunnies and kittens and deers and antelope all go around the magical little girl. Okay, so it's going to add that style code, and then it's going to generate an image. Of course, I probably should have said it. Yeah, 16 by 9, because I'm always wanting to make videos here. So 16 by 9 just makes it easy. And there's my prompt code, right? So we can come up here and we could actually watch again that it's creating. Let me get out of this real quickly. And you can see some of the stuff that we just did. So before you saw me suggest that I wanted to have someone come in and a pullback shot, and there's people in the same outfits, and there they go. And I think I'm going to have this one extend manually. Oh, and then there's an art code. There we go. That's a fun one. So I'm going to extend automatically. Ooh, there's a black version. Oh, there's the car. Oh, that's more like it. Okay. So now I'm going to take this one. Let's see. Do I want to add a style code to this? So I'm going to open up this one, I think, and I'm going to make sure that it's not using the style code because I don't want it to have Imagine Book, right? I want to have it be steampunk. And then I'm going to turn that on, and then I'm going to, let's do very strong. So it's going to make 4 that are like this, but varied strongly. If I wanted to, I could take out this little watermark just by hitting edit. I mean, there's so many things I can do. So mood boards basically let you load up a bunch of pictures of the same type. You could actually load up, dead artists if you wanted to, or a bunch of pictures of myself that I have here. So if I select that, let me see if I can actually show you. So these are, some are real pictures of me, some are not, some are AI generated, but I've been generating images based upon my face. This is a real picture of me. And then whenever I put my this in there, it becomes pictures of me. So I can have myself all over the world doing stuff I really did. Sometimes it looks like me. Midjourney's not spectacular at this yet. There's also the capability. So this is my style code for that particular thing. Handsome professor is standing on a whale as he fights to gain balance as he's surfing. The whale is having fun in Icelandic, Arctic, cliffside area in a pool, and the whale is having a good time with this heroic, handsome professor wearing a leather outfit and ski goggles. Okay, whatever. So not my best work, but you get the idea, right? So if it's using this personalization style, if it's using Rick and steampunk, I don't want steampunk. And then if I get my settings set, aesthetics high, okay, and I'm going to see if I can get maybe a little bit faster prompt. So then I can take a look and organize. So you can download in bulk every picture you've ever made. And you can see this is what I've been working on in the last week. So this was last week when I started to do this whole, this one's really fun. I think this is one of the ones. So I got this and I turned it into an animation. And then you see this. So you've got a couple of different times you can keep animating. So it's 5. Every time I hit run again, I can basically rerun or start frame or high motion. So I'm going to automatically get high motion again, and it's going to go do it again. So it'll do 4 different separate times that it's going to go through this process. I can go all the way back in the organization structure, and I'm going to take a look at just videos, and I'm going to walk through and take a look at what kind of crazy stuff I've been doing. There's stuff in here that I never even saw what happened to it, but here's a little animation for you. And there's the Wicked Witch with a particular style. Sometimes it starts to break apart. A warm, radiant illustration of a kind witch dressed in a sunlit robes, holding her wand like a paintbrush. Sometimes I'll go to ChatGPT to help me prompt. Sometimes I'll just sit there and find references elsewhere. In a couple of the cases, I'll start with something really simple, and it was a prompt that led me to these wooden people, and then I started liking it, and then I started thinking, wouldn't that be interesting if they did these different things? So I kept just kind of going back and forth and trying different things. It's an absolute beautiful way to interact with. In fact, if we go way, way back, you'll see that version 4, this is what it was like to work in. Oh, there's no video in version 4. I got to turn that off, right? So there we go. This was Hieronymus Bosch, Chaos at the Marriage Between Heaven and Hell, Joel Peter Witkin, the famous photographer. Okay, cool. What if I ran that today? So it doesn't do the proper, it doesn't use this command anymore. That was an old prompt from putting weight on this in the past. And I'll come in here and perhaps I'll go, yeah, let me just go ahead, and I don't want the Rick thing. Oh, maybe I do. Why not? Okay, let's just see what this does. I got no idea what we're going to get. So part of the randomness and the fun of this is you just kind of don't know. But if you really want to be good at it and you want to make money at this, of course, you can then start with inputs and outputs. So you can take an image that you have, like a picture of me and Nana Banana it, right? Or I can start with a picture that I found somewhere that I really like. There's a couple of artists I've been following, and I've kind of seen what they do. I even brought in the Dangerous Man. So I bring the Dangerous Man. Let's start animating this. I can have an end frame. So select an image for the end frame. Do I have an end frame for him? I'm going to have him turn into this guy. This is going to be really weird and high motion, and man turns from a sketch into a human, into a giant wall of black and white bricks. Oh, okay. This is going to be highly weird. But so you can start with pictures. You can even have it describe your pictures. Yeah, 16 by 9. Let's just go let that one rip, and we'll see how that does. And then we'll see what these get to do. So here's our new iterations. Okay, these, oh, that's the old ones. This is sort of the sketch drawing version of the black version of it. Here we go with more motion. If you extend it automatically, it just automatically keeps on going from where it did. If you do it manually, you get to prompt inject it, meaning you get to direct it what the next camera move is. So manually, I'm going to say, everybody gets up and does a dance, all collectively, 1980s style. Music video. Fun dance moves like hip hop. And the woman plays the violin as the other people around her dance. Got no idea what's going to happen there, but it's fun, right? So I'm going to keep on going. Yep. I reach the maximum number of jobs per minute, right? So I need to get on the fast mode. But here's my beautiful character. I'm using my cartoon style, and there she is. It's supposed to be a dandelion dress. Again, you don't always get what you want, and I'm not really spending my time kind of directing it. When I was doing my family members, I knew exactly what I wanted them to do. Ooh, that looks cool. Let's just go ahead. I think I run out of, ooh, whoa, here we go. Now we're talking. So here is a drive-through Anessa Lorenz. I guess that was maybe the artist that had one of the images. This is like the 20th iteration off of one prompt that looked nothing like this. My whole thing is if you find some inspiration somewhere, always make it something different, make it your own, add some value to it. And this has been my ongoing process with this particular one. And I'm going to go for more high motion. And I could go through and animate it by adding a prompt. That's what you would do if you really want to get going there. And of course, what you're going to do is you're going to spend all your credits. Even if you, so here I am as a whale, doesn't look like me at all. So if you really want to get perfect face matches, use Nana Banana for your first frame. And then you can come in here and animate it. Let me see. What have I not done in here, Brandon, and showed you? Oh, you can also go into chat mode where you chat like ChatGPT back and forth about your images. And it will load up the last couple of chats that you did, and it has the whole history of everything you've done. It looks like I'm having some problems with my browser, but the main thing, come here and get inspired by what other people are doing in the world. Come in here and don't look at the images first and see if you find people that you like and like their work. So add it to the list of things that you like. You can also search for anything you want. So if I like steampunk, then I'm going to find steampunk.
And with steampunk specifically, or any of those images like that Neapolitan cat that we have there, we can get those SREF codes, and then you can do things in that style using the SREF code. That's the one Midjourney hack that I've picked up.
Yeah. So the other thing about this is I can look in styles for steampunk as a style. Now I figure out, well, which steampunk do I want?
SREF is, style reference. Yeah.
Style reference. So this, you can search for styles, which is awesome. And you can also get the hot styles. And with the word steampunk added to it, you're now going down a thoughtful choice of styles that you want to do. So if I were doing something that was sort of pinup style, maybe I might even add the word pinup in there. I don't know if it would actually find it, but there's billions of people who made trillions of images. So if you like this sort of dark kind of moody look, then you can always add things like Hieronymus Bosch or something like that, photographic, cinematic, words like that, that add to the cinematic effects. Then if you find a trial style, then you can add your own style on top of it, which would be my Rick thing. And then when you go to add that style to your choices, the two things come together and Rick is in full battle gear. And then let me make sure that took that reference. And I also want to load up the style. Oh, let me try that style from here. Okay. And then let's go generate. All right. So the beauty of this is you've got so many ways. And the trick to me is, and the reason why I bring up Spielberg is that you can just kind of randomly do this. This is, oh my God, that's just weird. Chaos at the Marriage Between Heaven and Hell, Joel Peter Whitkin. And that's with some weird styles that don't make any sense. Here I am being generated where I'm turning from the sketch picture into the dangerous man there at the end. Here is a different version, the marriage between chaos and heaven and hell. Yeah, so that didn't work out too well. And we'll kind of see what happens here in full battle gear. When you're in fast mode and you do pay $30 a month for this, there's not really a free tier that you really want to mess with. Rick in full battle gear does not look like it took on myself that well. And you can also go through and, do a riffs on something you made a long time ago. You can also download all the images from one particular day. So here's all the pictures, select them all, and then download. So you can bulk download 3,000 pictures real quickly. So we'll kind of land the plane there, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So thanks, Rick, as always, for sharing your tool time. We'll get all this up on YouTube. More details on the new YouTube channel coming soon. But going back to generative AI and using those images into video prompting, I've come full circle here. We shared earlier PJ Ace, the videographer that had that viral commercial. I've got one more because I know you, Rick, and I know you like to end things on a high level.
Perfect.
So
yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and share one more commercial. I'm not going to give you any context. I'm just gonna play it for you.
Thank you.
I tried everything for my depression. Nothing worked.
Every day felt heavy. I felt trapped.
Then I tried Pupramin.
Our prescription helps your body secrete a special pheromone that attracts puppies.
I took the pill before bed, and when I woke up, there he was, the love of my life.
The pill does not target depression directly, but we've found that it's really difficult to be depressed when cute dogs show up at your doorstep.
I used to feel so empty, but now I feel joy and mild concern how a pee stain got on the ceiling. My puppy listens twice as good as my ex-husband and only climbs into the lap of half as many of my friends.
He chewed up my Bible and pooped in my good chair, but I'm happy for the first time in years.
Looks like a rat, barks like a demon, but he saved my life.
I named him Earl. He follows me everywhere and farts in his sleep, just like my first husband.
Pupramin, for when your therapist says, maybe you should get a dog.
Oh, and I love the voice. Oh my God, Brandon, you are a beautiful man. That just made my day. Thank you so much. I did see that already, but yeah, man.
Yeah. And one thing I love about PJ is that if you find any of his stuff on YouTube or Twitter, he puts his process, he builds in public and he shares his prompts. So, the only thing standing between you and a video like that is a few 100 VO credits. So, it's
and there is and there will be, when we do the tool time of this Mid-Journey, I'm going to put together what we're going to call flows. So already we've done Perplexity, ChatGPT, Notebook LM just got a huge new release, and I'm going to be doing notebook deep dives because now they have Nana Banana doing the visuals for the overviews. Oh, Kevin McAllister moment. Right? So I've been doing this for a long time, and so I have 10 of them lined up. So they're going to be on the new channel, and I'll put them up on my channel for a little bit as we make our transition. I want you to always be able to just find my name and watch the videos, and they're always going to be there. But we want to organize it and make it specifically, because I got a lot of friends that are straight photographers. They don't want to see AI all the time. So we're making an independent channel just for this, and it's going to be all that and a lot more. You're going to see that it's organized in our 2-hour-long segments and then broken down to 30-minute segments, which are the news, the deep dive, the tool time, and we have new names for that are all Starship friendly. So we're going to be doing really cool new things. So we're looking forward. Producer Brandon, thank you so much for being just a beautiful human man, and you just delight me every time. And thanks for bringing us news from Cleveland. It's a beautiful city. It's a beautiful place to live, and it's the heartland of America. And it's great that Paul decided to put it there. I will definitely be there next year, and I wish I could have gotten there. I'm getting ready to go to Max, Adobe Max. It's coming up at the end of the month. All new applications, so you're starting to see them roll out right now, including Nana Banana in Photoshop. So take a look for that, and it's already in Firefly. So stay tuned for more AITV Starship with Rick and Brandon. You want to have any last words to send us off, buddy?
We just need some AI-generated sports teams.
Can they enhance sports? Is there a pill for that?
Good night, Rick.
Thank you, sir. Namaste, everybody. Be beautiful. Be kind to yourself. Get a puppy. Rescue one, will you? Have a great day, everybody.
We're the dangerous people who get stuff done. And show you can too. Imagine a beautiful world. With you, we can make it come true.